we'll start the meeting at 7:32 on January the 8th. And so we'll call to order. And let's see, first item is the first item nomination of the calendar?
No, it's the election of officers. We have to do that first. And so we would ask for nominees.
Okay. Are there any nominees for the positions of chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary?
So I will ask you if you're willing to serve again as secretary. Are you willing to continue in that role if there's no other candidates?
Yes, I am willing to be secretary again.
Okay. And Mark indicated if there were no other candidates, he'd be willing to continue to serve as the chair, but he said he would be happy to step aside and not run if anybody else was interested in running as chair. If there's anybody interested in running as chair or vice chair?
I'll do whatever we need. We'll need all the roles filled, right? So.
Yep, we have to fill them all. So whatever you'd like. You want to be vice chair and have Mark be chair? Is that what you're?
Sure.
Is that what the slate that you're proposing?
Sure.
All right. Are there any other nominees? Anybody else would like to serve as a role? You don't have to on your first meeting.
No. I'm a listener, so.
Welcome, you're nominated. Yeah.
So you would ask for a motion of the slate of candidates as discussed.
Okay, and I apologize. Who was since I can't see you guys?
So
volunteer for vice chairperson?
The slate would be yourself as secretary, Jason as vice chair, and Mark to continue as chair.
Okay.
So is there a
I
motion?
apologize. Tell me the wording again for Robert's rules. Do we show a show of hands for this, or?
Well, you would request a motion, somebody to make that motion.
Okay. I request a motion for the election of officers as stated previously by Sands.
So moved.
All right. So Henry seconded it. All right. And then you'd ask for any discussion.
Right. Is there any discussion?
And then you would call for a vote.
Quiet. Good. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
So, for the record, I am technically I have not been sworn in yet. So
Okay.
I'm not officially.
Okay.
Sally.
Hi, Sally. I think, Sally, you might have just saved us.
Good.
So, Sally, so we started, Mary Frances is the officer that's the only officer currently here. One of the things on the agenda, as you might have seen, is the election of officers. So a slate of candidates was proposed as you filling all three positions. No, I'm just kidding. No, but as Mary Frances is willing to continue as secretary, Jason was willing to serve as vice chair, and Mark was willing to continue as chair. And so there's been that motion's been seconded. There's been discussion time, and we were just having a vote, and Henry informed us that he technically hasn't been sworn in yet. So you walking in is the fourth member making a quorum.
You saved the day.
So we would, so we're basically asking you to, if you cast your vote in favor or against that, or abstaining from that motion.
No, I'm in favor of this. Great.
Okay. So Mary Frances, the motion passes, and the officers are.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. And so with that in place, now Jason assumes the second position and would now become chair. This is the way it has to go, unfortunately.
That was your meeting. I got suckered into that one, huh?
Yeah.
Peaceful transition of power.
Yeah.
And then
There you go.
Okay.
So,
All right. So next we have the approval of the 2024 meeting schedule, as we've had before in our minutes. Were there any major conflicts? This looks like it follows the same cadence for the most part, right?
The only exception is like the April one. This time it happens before the school vacation.
Right.
Typically we had it after the school vacation, but it happens to fall the week before the school vacation. So that's the only real change that we've had.
You didn't like that one?
No. I think, and this one is the third Monday.
Oh, right.
Because of the holiday thing.
Oh, call it that.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve our calendar?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry.
I motion.
You make-
okay.
I make a motion
All right.
to approve the
And do we have a
calendar.
second?
Tracy Rinaldi.
And Mary,
I'll second it.
all right, Sally, second.
Are there any opposed? Okay, seeing none, the calendar passes. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
And our last meeting minutes, we have up for approval. Hope everyone had a few moments to review those.
And if you want to take them together, the November and December minutes, we have both.
Oh, I missed
Because
that.
we didn't have an
Yep.
official meeting last month, so,
I motion to approve.
okay.
Perfect.
I can second that again.
All right.
So smooth there.
Excellent. Any discussion on that? Great. Any opposed? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. So Sam, let's move to your report, please.
Okay, sure. So regarding our grants, the two grants that we had before the bodies, we did meet with the RTM subcommittees on the night of the last Board of Health meeting. Santina was over there, and I ran over there to the Board of Ed building, and we got through the subcommittees, and then the following week I had to go back for the full RTM meeting. And while we did have several questions regarding some of the aspects of the immunization grant, the grant did pass. And so we are now in the process of signing the contracts with the state, and we'll get close to $300,000 in both immunization and workforce development money total. That'll be coming our way. In terms of, I thought I would share a little bit in terms of vaccinations. It's been a relatively slow month. We're just in a mode of where we're just accepting calls for appointments, and we did 31 flu and 13 COVID in the last month. Not a busy time for us, and there really hasn't been a significant demand for the COVID vaccination. We only bought 50 doses, and it's not a big demand. I thought I would share a little bit. I'll pull this over here so it's a little closer. But this is just the DPH weekly surveillance of what's going on, and here you can see like influenza current week, previous week, and season total. And so I'll just go through sort of just from a more visual perspective. Here's what we're seeing in influenza. This week, as they typically say, is you wouldn't rely on this data because it's not complete. So you look at the last full bar there that you're seeing weekly cases. So it looks like influenza is still potentially going up. RSV looks like it's peaked in early December, and it's coming down now. COVID-19, it's going up slowly. I wouldn't rely on this one. Same, so it continues to go up. And then these are just some of the emergency department visits for viral illness. As you'll see, where they're kind of all, other than RSV, kind of all continuing to go up. Some of the cases in nursing homes are somewhat level. And a vaccination showing COVID vaccinations percent of people. Here's numbers by week, and then percent of people. There. So just, I typically look at this weekly and try to just, help to see what's going on in terms of trends. So just an update on what's going on in terms of respiratory viral illness. We did have a commissioner's semi-annual meeting this past month. The Director of Health has to go twice a year to participate in that. And we heard, reports from other departments regarding workforce development, their current efforts, and what they're planning to do with this new round of funding with this initial round of funding with the Workforce Development Grant, and then also just some work on what people are doing with the opioid funding, the opioid settlement funding. So lots of towns received funds. Fairfield received funds, and so everybody's sort of in a initial phase of what are we going to do with the funds and putting together groups to sort of look at that. And so this was a presentation on what other people are doing. So it's good information for us moving forward because, several of us, I sit on the team at the town that's started to look at these funds. And again, this past month we did have over the Christmas period, the Health Improvement Alliance meeting at St. Vincent's Hospital, where we heard an interesting presentation from Santina and I did on what's called the Housing Collective, the Coordinated Access Network. So an overview of when people are in crisis related to their housing, they typically call 211, and then this is the process that happens after that. And it looks, it connects people with a whole network of resources, does the interviews, finds out, does mediation if they're not out of their dwelling. They work with landlords and the clients to sort of negotiate. They'll call family members. They'll, basically say, we'll do anything. If they're in a house right now, we'll do anything practically just to get them to stay there. And so even so far as like, well, they don't chip in for the electric bill, we'll chip in for the electric bill if you let them stay there. Those kinds of things, and then it's also connections with people who are already out of housing to connect them to emergency housing and then long-term housing. So it was a very impressive presentation on the systems that's in place in Connecticut to deal with people that are in crisis housing situations.
Is it a specific group or is it a collective of groups?
So the Housing Collective sort of coordinates this coordinated access network. And so that network is made up of everybody that's providing services for unhoused individuals. And so from shelters to food pantries to, feeding locations, basically everyone, they coordinate that, and they have internal systems of how to, all right, we've got these people coming into the system, what can we do for them and what can we do? And so it's case management, if you will, trying to get them the best housing result they can. I think I shared last month we issued 14 orders related to housing. So 10 of those issues have been resolved with people obtaining certificates of rental occupancy. 2 of those we have not yet had a response from the owners of the dwelling, and 2 of them we learned that we sent to a previous owner. The property had been sold, and so we're resending the letters there. But we've got, out of the 14 orders that we issued in December, or between the November and December meeting, we have resolved 10 of those. We did have a meeting with the First Selectman and the First Selectman's Chief of Staff, as well as the Communications Director in the First Selectman's office, police, fire, Fairfield U reps, to talk about the debrief of the SantaCon event. And so there was, a large event where there was, littering on the beach and a lot of teenage or young adult drunkenness, and a party got very large very quickly. And the struggle is it's not, So we talked about some of the challenges of it in that it's a national event that's going on in cities all over the country, and it's not sponsored by Fairfield U. It's just kind of, sponsored by individuals, and so they do it. And then what happens with social media is it can grow very quickly, and so it can sometimes get out of hand. This one, the police, while it did get large, the police did seem to manage it, but there was some pollution issues, with lots of debris on the beach and some safety issues with, kids on roofs of some, a den on the side of a house, and they're standing on the roof. Too many kids on decks that are on the second story level. And so there's definitely some safety concerns. So we met with Fairfield U to sort of try to put in place some strategies, and work with the Lighthouse, Lantern Point Housing Association to sort of try and see if they can take some steps to limit those impacts, specifically if it were to happen again next year, specifically the litter and trash that got a lot of attention. So we had that meeting. There was a couple good action steps there. We did have, between Christmas and New Year's, we had our budget meeting with the First Selectman's office. Jill, myself, and Santina participated with the finance department staff and the First Selectman and his staff. Explained some of the minor changes that we have this year. We're not asking for any significant increases. We have, I think we've shared the Covenant School issue here, and that will have a need for two part-time nurses. So we're putting that in the request to cover that. And then as far as the other line items in the budget, we're not asking for any increases other than, as I call it, shifting the deck chairs. We've reduced some lines and put those funds in other lines. And so, for example, we got all new electric vehicles, so we don't really need a gasoline line item anymore. So the finance director said, well, people are going to be putting in for more mileage because there's less electric cars than we used to have, so of gas cars, so people will be putting in mileage, so we put the money into the mileage line, things like that. So the budget, that's the first step of the budget process, and then we'll be moving forward with that. We continue to meet with Municity and try to move forward with our new database for the health department, for the environmental program, for our licensing and complaints and things like that. It is going very slowly. Municity, we met with Municity before Christmas, and they said, here's what we want to do in January, and in the meeting they said, here's 5 dates. Can you agree on those 5 dates now? I said, well, we can't agree. We got a lot of people here. We have to check our schedules, and I said, so why don't you send us that in an email? And so to this date, they haven't sent us in an email what dates they want to meet. So weeks later. So this is the experience we're getting with them is very, they're very demanding on us, and then they're not very responsive to us making requests of them. We sent them several emails saying, send us those dates again. Send us those dates again. And I say, and then there's no reply other than there's an automated message saying we'll be back January 2nd. So, and then we did have, what I'll call a grant planning meeting, to talk about specifically the immunization grant, how we're going to roll that out. Some of the, we have a general concept of the activities. We're going to bring in a part-time nurse and a part-time community health worker, and they're going to offer more vaccination opportunities, including homebound vaccination, going to senior housing facilities, and offering more clinic opportunities. But we also had a discussion about, other things they can do. So our public health nurse, Julie McCullough, came up with a great idea that she learned at one of the nursing conferences that... One of the nurses in Wallingford. Meriden, was it? No, Meriden, you're right. Yeah. So they did a historical enter of all vaccines for the senior class in the high school. So now they have this immunization registry in the state of Connecticut called CT-Wiz. And so all doctors are supposed to enter all vaccinations into CT-Wiz. So what you have now is younger students have all their vaccinations in there. Yeah, some of the younger ones. It's good, not great. But the folks that are in high school don't have all their immunizations. So we have records of all their immunizations. So what we're going to have this staff do is work down and start entering all those immunizations. So when those kids go into life, they have a full record accessible to them, because anybody can go in and enter your name and your birthday and pull up your own immunization record. So they, something I don't have for me, like growing up. And so it's like a great resource and a use of that staff. So it's an example of just something that came out of that meeting, which I thought was great.
And just a quick question. So about the immunization grant, is it targeting just adults?
No.
Are they certain types of immunizations? Are we talking
all childhood immunizations? Mm-hmm. It's just the grant intent is just to increase, to reduce barriers for those who are interested in getting vaccinated. Mm-hmm. So if you're interested in getting vaccinated, and there's a barrier, whether it's transportation, whether it's whatever it may be, is trying to reduce those barriers for those who want to be vaccinated. And so it's all childhood vaccinations, influenza, COVID, RSV.
Right.
So.
We're doing immunizations like Shingrix and
We don't do that.
Pneumovax and
We do that,
We do
yeah.
pneumonia, yeah.
Okay.
But we don't do shingles because it's so readily available.
Right.
Now that you can go to any pharmacy anywhere and get it any day.
Right.
And so it's just something that we don't feel the need to provide.
I think one of the things that we discussed were expanding the hours as well.
Yeah.
Afternoon and evening hours, after our regular staff goes home at 4, that's kind of close for a lot of school-age children who need to get their vaccines. And
Yeah.
to do it on Saturdays as well, right? We were tossing that idea around once a month.
Yeah, so
Saturday.
that we're talking about, while we have this extra staff to potentially offer a clinic on a Saturday once a month and, what we're saying, 2 evenings a month
Yeah.
to go into the evenings too, and it's, to serve families better, because that, has historically been a barrier. And just from, while it's not, hardcore evidence, we often get, entire families coming up to us to get vaccinated. So so we don't have to go to different doctors and different locations. We can get it all done at one time, and we all go together and get them done. So we want to continue to provide that service and again, limit barriers. Time is a barrier. We'll focus on that.
Well, I would suspect that seniors are probably a little better vaccinated than maybe like my realm of life, right? Like our kind of middle-aged folks. Do you ever go to like the senior housing areas and do clinics right there at their home, like Sullivan McKinney,
Yeah.
et cetera?
We've done
Hey,
that.
here we are, come do them, come get your Pneumovax.
During COVID, we sent nursing teams to Sullivan McKinney, to Parish Courts, to, what's the one up by Ward?
Sturgis Ridge?
No.
Oh, no, I'm thinking
There's
something.
another one up there. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but
Fine.
yeah,
Trefoil.
Trefoil and Pine Tree.
Okay.
Yeah, those are senior housing complexes there, and so we would send staff right there, and they'd set up in the community room and do it historically. And so we want to do more of that, and this grant will give us that opportunity to do that at community hours.
Janet frequently went out for flu, COVID or no COVID. Just this year, she did the McKinney housing.
Yeah,
That's great.
Great.
yeah. So we want to be able to expand that offering and continue to do that, and so that's what we will do, and that's my report. And now we have the chairperson here, so this is a first for us to have
Round robin,
three people serve as chair tonight.
Great.
Unfortunately, I had to stop at Milford Hospital. I apologize.
Okay.
So that's yours. So then, we have Jill's report now?
I really don't have anything to present tonight, nothing to vote on tonight. Just that we're continuing with catching up on a lot of education that we kind of let go by the wayside while we were focusing on COVID. That continues. We've had someone from the Epilepsy Foundation come in and do some seizure training with us in the schools. We had special ed staff from central office come in and do, as well as from, who's the attorney?
Phil Pierce.
Sorry?
Phil Pierce.
No, the attorney, Goodson, well, whatever. The attorney that the Board of Ed uses come in and discuss 504, as well as a new platform. We had Jonathan Goodson, who's head of the elementary school special ed. He did a presentation on the new platform that we're using. Very helpful. And we've done, as always, I talk about personnel issues. And we've certainly hired, as Sam's mentioned, 2 new part-time nurses for the Covenant School on a permanent basis. And as soon as that gets filled, I have 2 resignations. So we're just recruiting for that right now. That's where we stand.
Okay.
Great.
Now, is it part-time or full-time?
It's both.
Oh, one
Yes.
of each?
One of each, yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Jill. Any communications?
I had none.
Any old business?
We have none.
Is there any new business?
So we have new business. We have we're playing catch up. We have the 22 and 23 annual reports that we provided to you last month, and with the links to them in the recent emailing. And we're just basically looking for board approval for these 2 reports. Typically bring them before the board, ask them to review, have any comments, and get them approved so we can post them on the website.
That's for 22 and 20.
Hey.
Was 22 not approved last year, or?
No.
I thought we looked at it last year, didn't we?
Last year, you approved a 1920 joint annual report. And so it'd be,
Been 2019 to 2020.
Oh, okay.
We weren't going back. I'm like really behind.
Yeah.
Wow,
So we did a-
I'm like, that's pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
should have rephrased that.
It did take me a moment.
Yeah, we did a joint 2019, 2020, or it was a 1920 and a 21 annual report last year you approved, and now we're playing catch up doing 22 and 23.
Okay.
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 So we'll have to take, so, does everybody have a copy of this, or?
I have copies here, if people want to look, and they were shared in the links in the email that went out for the board, the materials.
So could do we have a motion to, we could approve it today then, right?
Actually,
can,
I just
yeah.
have one comment.
Okay?
On page 8 of 2022, under vision referrals, it was 3,892 vision screenings.
Okay.
And then the same thing as well for 2023 on page 9.
Instead of referrals, the
Instead
word
of
is
referral screenings.
screenings in the public health nursing page, okay? With those changes?
So with those changes, I have a motion to approve the annual report.
I would move to accept the 22 and 23 reports as amended by the nursing director.
Is that the motion?
That is the motion.
Okay.
Yes, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed, okay, approved.
Thank you very much.
And there no other new business?
I thought I would show, I don't know if I showed this last time, did I show this to you guys, the new Board of Health website last time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did,
Yeah,
okay.
great.
Yeah, so,
And there's a picture somewhere up there, a really nice looking.
that's on the health department one. But, yeah, take a look at this, and just make sure everything's okay for you when you get a chance, or if you see something wrong, just feel free to let us know. And Andrea actually sent around notice if there's any changes there, you can write them in and we'll get them up on the website. The one thing I did want to just bring to your attention, and I don't know if we had this filled out last month, but here is on the, if you go to agendas and minutes and packets, it's all posted on here. So if you want to go back and look at anything, or if you don't have your packet and you want to just look it up, or you don't want to search for the email, it's right on the Board of Health website. So, the agenda, the packet, which has the Board of, the annual reports in there.
What is when I did like a Google of
Yeah, so
Board of Health, it was not coming up, so.
yeah, you have to search like Town of Fairfield Board of Ed, Board of Health.
It's like Fairfield,
I can
Connecticut.
send the link
Board
as
of
well.
Health. It was just funny that when I did like a search of like Fairfield, Connecticut Board of Health, it kept coming to just the health department and not Board of Health.
If you go to the health department, so
I'll share again.
let's go to the health department and I'll show you.
And then see.
Okay, boards and commissions under there?
You can go to boards and commissions, or if you go to the health department, just Google Fairfield Health Department, you scroll down to the bottom, and there's a whole Board of Health
Okay, there we go.
button there that takes you
Beautiful.
right to it.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
And so
I
that's-
just needed to like figure out where to find it.
Yeah, and so that's, and the only thing I wanted to show you was that. The minutes and packets and all that stuff is all there, and it goes back in time, so if you miss a
Got it,
meeting.
okay. Cool.
If you miss a meeting, or if you have insomnia, you can catch it. So that is all we have for this week, this month.
There.
We're done. I feel like I just came
It was
in,
like
we're
a
done.
scroll kind of thing, that's why.
So could I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right,
We're adjourned.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Tracy?
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.